Here we are in the book of Judges, and we're in chapter 4, verse 18. Just to catch everybody up, what's going on is Cisera, his sister's army was decimated, and so Cisera started to run on foot. The reason he ran on foot, the rabbis tell us, is because he didn't want to be known as Cisera and be captured by that. So he figured if he would run like a regular foot soldier, nobody would really pay attention to him. He could disappear amongst the troops. So what happens? And he goes to Chever the Cani. Why is he going to Chever the Cani? Or towards that? Because he knows that his king Yael has a peace treaty with the family of the Cani. Okay? So far, that's where we are. So Tate say Yael, and that Yael is Chever's wife. Yael went out, Likrat Cisera, to meet Cisera. Vatomer Elav, and she said to him, Suru Adoni, Sura Eli, turn my master, turn to me. Altira, do not be afraid. Vayasar Eleha ha'ohela, and he turned to her toward the tent. Vatachasehu bismicha, and she covered him with a blanket. Any questions? A smicha there, by the way, they're translating it as a garment. So any questions in this? Or everybody just thinks everything's great? Interestingly enough, and again with the word smicha, which is, the Metzudas Sion says, it's a thick piece of clothing that they took out the tzitzis from it. Okay, so it means the four-corner garment, thus, again, that's maybe what we call today a blanket. Not sure.
Wouldn't there be an issue with Cisera going to the tent of the wife of Chever?
Why would there be an issue? They're not Jews.
So there's no problem.
Of a non-Jewish woman being with a non-Jewish man? Alone?
Right.
No, not halachically. That's number one. There's no halachic. Well, if you want to say that they shouldn't commit adultery, maybe. But again, I don't think the sister's morals were up to par. That we really have to worry about that. I also don't believe that he was thinking, "Oh, it's time to get together with somebody." I'm not sure that's what he was thinking. He was running away from somebody. But there will be no matter of yichud, what we call yichud, where a Jewish man cannot be with a Jewish woman alone. But by the way, one other thing: if let's say that somebody would come to my house now, okay? Let's say they come to my house and my wife would be home, and she would welcome him in. There would be no issue of yichud there either because I'm here. So she and he would be afraid, the rabbis explain, of anything illicit happening in a normal situation. By the way, I mean, rape is not a sexual act. Rape is an act of violence. So we're not looking at rape, but we're looking at consensual adults getting together. So if a consensual adults getting together, if the husband is in town and is able to walk in at any time, and in this case it's very possible, so then that's also not an issue of yichud. So if the husband is not in town, that would be an issue. Or if there's no way for the husband to get there, that would be an issue. But even today's world, where people are working 45 minutes from home, there's no way that I can tell you for sure that the man won't be home at a certain time. And that's why you get all the country songs that the guy came home and he found his wife, blah, 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 and he drove the truck through the wall where they were. Okay, fine. But that's because he came home early and she wasn't expecting him, which just proves the case, that no matter what we're doing, I can always end up being in the right place. Oh, in the wrong place, actually. How are you today, sir?
Fantastic. How about you?
Thank God, all right. You have a book, right?
Huh?
You have a book, right? Okay.
This
So
expression that's translated turn aside to me, is that an invitation to come in?
right. But what's the other question you would have? That's one question. Go ahead. What's another
And
one?
then this issue with the blanket, what's
Why should you give him a blanket?
what's going on there?
Okay. What's another one? Altira. Don't be afraid. What are you afraid of? Okay. So now let's just look at some stuff. First of all, it says we're in chapter 4, verse 18. Thank you. So it says surah. So the simple explanation the Mishudas Dov explains is Ra'ata. She saw. Shehi shahaya mistapek im lelech im lanus od. She saw that he was questioning, should I go into her tent, or should I continue running? She said to him, Sur mimakom mehilchacha, turn away from the way that you are going. Uvo elai, and come to me. Al tira, don't be afraid. In other words, you'll be protected here. No problem. Well, we got you covered. Okay, that's number one. Then, like I said, the smicha is the blanket. So the Radak says, why is it called a smicha? Why is it called a blanket? Ki b'divreihem, because of their words. Shemichata devar. Okay, I'm sorry. That's not what I wanted. So he's not answering. Fine. He didn't answer your question. So the Malbim says like this. He named the Mahari Sha'alpo. He asks here, Eich asita Yael kedavar hara hazel harog et Cisera. How could Yael do such a horrible thing to kill Cisera after there was, since there was Shalom Beino ubein beit Baala, since there was peace, a peace treaty between him, Cisera, and her husband's household. Uvat labaita, and he came to her house. Zeneged chuke hamadinot. This is against the statutes of the countries. In other words, if you come into, we see this. I'll ask you. I'm going to ask you a question. Okay? I can't speak English. I can't speak English suddenly. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Where in the Torah do we see this concept of, if you come into my house, I must protect you? I want to see how well you know Torah here. No. Come on.
Abraham?
No. Lot says to the people of Sodom. Yes, I like that. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Rabbi. You're right. Okay. I'm glad I'm right. He says to the people of Sodom, don't touch the strangers because they've come into to the walls of my house and therefore are under my protection. You're under my protection at that point. Okay? So now this is what the Malbim is asking. Lot was way before this story. So if it happened in Lot's time, certainly now, you come into my house, you're protected. That's the point. Altira, don't be afraid. And I'm going to answer according to his answer. Hine shalom shabeno shaben Yavin ubeit Chever haya shalom kolel. That the peace treaty was between Yavin and the house of Chever, which means kolel. In a general sense, there was in Bnei Kani, what the people of Kani has shochanim b'midbar Yehuda that were living in the wilderness of Yehuda. Sha'al zeh. And through via this, Amar Ubain Beit Chever Kani. That's why it says between the house of Chever the Kani. V'yatasha Nifrad Chever Me'eit Echav. And now that Chever has separated from his brothers. V'nita ahalo bein b'nei Israel, and he has pitched his tent between the b'nei Israel. Ein alav chiyuv havarit shel ben Keni, the b'nei Keni. He's no longer under the obligation of the covenant of the b'nei, his brethren of the Kenites. Ki nifrad mehem, because he's separated from them. That's reason number one. V'yatama beit. And the second reason is K'moshe Ketub Mahari, like the Mahari said. Shanas el ohel Yael, he fled to the ohel, to the tent of Yael, ve'isha b'torah me'inyane hamadinot. And women are exempted from the matters of the state. Vehi asata zot below bala. She did it and not her husband. Ulam lahutzrechu lechol zeh. Perhaps you don't need all of this. Achareyot beit Chever b'nei Yisrael. Maybe you don't need all that because the house of Chever was from b'nei Yisrael. Ve'eich lo yarivu riv imam ve'aleihem. So if that's the case, how is it possible that they wouldn't fight the fight with them and in their tents? So now the last one throws a little bit of a problem into the system, because now you have Yael. If you want to say that Chever is from Bnei Israel, from the children of Bnei, in other words, he's one of us, so then Yael should not have invited Cisera into the tent, as it were. Okay, you have that problem, but again, you would say that, like I said, since the husband is in town, was on an issue of yichud there, and she knows that she's going to kill him anyway, it's a premeditated murder here, and so she knows what she's doing. You could argue that. It's not a great argument because you're still putting yourself into danger, but if you want to put all that together, one could certainly do that, to answer that question. As far as the semicha, the blanket, why do you think she's putting the blanket over him? To get him warm and cozy, to get his guard down. It's that simple. I'm going to show you nice. I'm going to show you, what do you call it? Hospitality. So now we come to 19. Vayomer eleha, and he said to her, Hashkini nam at mayim kitsameti. Now again, na is an interesting word. It could mean please, it could mean now. You have to decide what Cisera was saying. Did he say, please give me drink a little water because I'm thirsty, or give me now a little water because I'm thirsty? You have to make that decision. What was he like? Was he one who was going to ask politely, or was he one who was used to demanding? And that's what he's doing here. There's no way to really know that for sure. It's in the Targum, it says now, give me drink now. Okay? So that's, like I said, it could be now, it could be please. Probably based upon who he is, it's now. He's used to giving orders, he's used to barking orders. Certainly in those days, women were not liberated, and they were seen as chattel in that world. So it would make sense to serve me now, and that's it. But like I said, he could be being very nice about it. It's also interesting that he said, "Hashkini nam at mayim." Again, give me now this water. And then what happens? It says kitsameti, and then we're all translating in the present tense because I am thirsty, but really tsameti means I was thirsty. Right? So we want to say that the past can be present tense too. That's how we would have to say it. That's how the grammar would say it. But nonetheless, it's in the past. Why didn't it say, can I need some air? Why not just that? Because I'm thirsty, leave me alone. Well, why did I say sameti? Okay, so that's always a question you can ask on these things. And then, vatiftach et nod hechalav, there's an extra vav there, and she opened up the leather bottle, or whatever kind of bottle of milk, and she gave him to drink, and she covered him. Questions?
Covered him. He was already covered.
Oh, there you go. Good. What else? Well, more logical one. That was logical, but something else. Something that's come right. I mean, that was true. That's a good question.
He asked for water, and she gave him milk.
There you go. He asked for water, and here she goes, I'll give you a little milk. What do I want? Nestle's quick? What's going on here? I don't get this. I asked you for water. If I want water, I want water. I don't want milk. Why is she giving him milk?
She wants to make him very comfortable.
Very comfortable. Probably warm milk on top of that. That's, by the way, you can't give warm cocoa to a person. You have to give them warm regular milk. That's what makes them tired, apparently. Cocoa, for some reason, doesn't do anything to you.
Huh.
I don't know why. But it doesn't get you tired.
Science.
I've tried it many times. I never got tired from hot chocolate.
But milk, yes.
I never drank warm milk.
I was going to say, I don't.
I don't think I could take it.
The cocoa is a stimulant.
Oh, there you go. So, but
Counteracts the milk.
you could, okay. So but that's what she knows apparently. So she gave him milk. Doesn't say warm milk, but she gave him milk. Okay, and so what happens? The Metzudas David says that exactly what we're saying. She gave him milk because that's what brings tiredness. So here's your question. Metzudas David says, Phil, your question is a good question. I've asked it myself, and the answer is, that's what he's telling you. He be'ed hishkato nigla kisyuv, because when he started to drink it, the covering fell off. He sat up. He was lying down. Apparently, she put it over him, whatever that clothing was, what the blanket was, while it comes off. So she covers him again. Okay, that's a simple understanding. Okay. Any other questions on that?
So, I mean, the concept of this, the scripture can only capture so many activities and so many things. It's pointing out this one that it seems insignificant. It falls off of him, she covers him, but obviously there's more going on there.
Correct.
I would assume. That
Correct. No, it's so it says. Radak says, Chazra v'chasoto. She went back and she covered him. Acha shehishkata oto. And after she gave him to drink, kadesh yardem, so that he would go down, and he would lie down lowards, yargish, and he would not have a suspect. Uma shehishkato chalav, and why'd she give him milk? Lachbido kadesh nirdam, in order that would make him heavy, so that he would get tired. So that's another thing. It's not just hot. It's not a hot milk. Apparently, milk has something in it that is makes it heavy. Now, it could be goat milk. I'm not sure what kind of milk she's giving him, but apparently the milk is certainly heavier than water, and it has. And when we get full, when we eat, we tend to get tired. If she really wanted to get him, she would have given him turkey.
I was thinking that too.
So she basically tucked him in.
Tucked him in, right? Yeah. She tucked him in. And say, go to sleep, Tzaddik, go to sleep. Okay, but that's really what's going on. So we're seeing that she has an elaborate plan here. Vayomer eleha, and he said to her, Amod. I love this command that he's giving her. Amod petach oel, stand by the opening of the door. Vaya ki im ish yavo. And if it happens that a man will come, and will ask you, V'amar, and he will say, Hayesh po ish, and is there a man here? V'amart, and you will say, Ayin, there is not. Any questions? And by the way, I would suggest that a mode, stand here, is answering, was it not please or was it not now? Now.
It's a command.
He's giving you commands.
He's putting her on guard duty.
That's it, putting her on guard duty. So Rashi says, Zar ze'atzmecha b'davar, strengthen, wake yourself up for this thing. And there are those who say, Amod kimo la'amod, as more a request. La'amod, please stand by the door again. So you have that sort of question too. Okay. And that's basically what's going on here. Next line. Where is it? Okay. Vatikach Yael eshet Chever. So now what happens is, and now we're getting into the mean part of this. Horrible. Vatikach Yael eshet Chever. So now Yael, the wife of Chever, took et yitad ha'ohel, the tent peg, vatasem and makevet, and placed and placed the hammer in her hand. Vatavo elav balat. She came to him quietly. Unlike that. Vatitka et hayate brakato, and she pierced the peg through barakato, through his skull into the ground. And it went into the ground. So she thrust that thing into the peg, the yated, into her is like the temple. But titzach ba'aretz, and it went right through to the ground. Vahu nirdam, and he was asleep. Vaya'av, he was tired. Vayamot, and he died. Okay. Any questions?
It was like a progression: sleep, tired,
dead. Right. You got that? Okay. So here we go. So Rashi explains, Yat iraola shetokim ba'aretz im shipuli ohel posto. What is this? What is the tent peg for? Is usually used to make sure the tent doesn't fall down. It's at a you put it in at the ends to stake it in the ground. Fine. Makevet is, like we said, is a hammer of some sort. Balat is charash, quietly. Okay, we said all these. Brakato, okay, so he's not adding, he's just giving pshat to the whole thing. Very nice. Okay. Why'd she come quietly? So the Mesilas David says, Levalye or Mishato. So he would not wake up. But Titznach Ba'artz Hukata Bekevet al Hayated, she banged that hammer on the peg, Ad Shechala Frakato, until it went through the his temple, Venitcha Ba'artz, and stuck to the ground. Now that's a powerful woman. Let me tell you something. I don't know how. I don't think it's that easy to crack a head. Well, even with a hammer.
She's getting it at the crease of
right.
the bones come together, going right through the brain.
Right. It's pretty hard, and right to the ground. V'hu nirdam. See, he was tied. Roach al shahaya nirdam. It wasn't. So now the Mesilas David says, okay. So again, the way the pasuk read, and this is why nobody's. That's what I'm saying. You have to ask the question here. It says she came to him quietly, stuck the peg into his temple, stuck to the ground, and then it says, and he was tired, and he was sleepy, he was tired, and he died. He was weary and he died. Well, when did he die? After she did this, or as a result of her doing this? What was that? So Mesilas David explained. Al shahaya nirdam v'shtiya d'chalav. Since he was tired from drinking of the milk, va'ayef, and he was weary, or again a different type of tired. Al kines l'raglav, because he was running on his feet. L'zeh, and from this miyad. Combine all those things together. Now when she pierces through the thing, he dies immediately. Doesn't have any chance. No chance to fight back. And for those who are wondering, could you have a chance to fight back? I invite you to watch any of these horror stories where they shoot the guy 15 times and he still comes back. I don't know. So apparently people can come back from the craziest incidences. But that's why we have to hear that he was tired and weary, and then so he died. Because everything put together is going to kill him. But why doesn't he realize that she's doing that? I mean, the first time it comes to you, I would think that if you're a soldier, unless she's holding it up here and bang,
right,
he's going to be woken up very quickly. But that again is a combination of things. So she saw he was weary because he was running. Now she makes him tired. he's in a deep sleep. Maybe at that point you don't wake up so quickly. Maybe you're totally off guard. And she's saying, Al Tira, there's a peace treaty. There's a lot of reasons for him to sleep. He's not really, doesn't feel necessary not to be on guard. For some, that's what we're learning from this. Because anybody else, I think, would have woken up really quick when you feel something touching your head. Okay. So, Hine Barak Rodef et Cisera. So, behold, Barak was chasing after Cisera. The Taid say, Yael lekrato. And Yael goes out to meet him. And she said to him, Lech v'areka et ish asher ata mivakesh. Go and I will show you. It's interesting, he doesn't say come. He says go. Translated literally here. Go and I will show you the man that you are searching for. Ve'avo eleha, and he came to her. Ve'hine Cisera, no fail mate. And behold, Cisera, again, it's a participle. But we translate it as they fell. He fell and died. But behold, Cisera was falling and dying. Vayate barakato. And the peg was in his temple. So, let me see. I'm pretty sure they all translate the same way. I lost the page here. Let me just see. And behold, Barak pursued, and I just came up to meet him. I will show the man, and behold, right, he lay dead, and the pin was in his head. So he translates that all in the past, but in the story, is certainly participles, present tense, which could, of course, again, grammatically, could be translated into the past. But the question is, why would it be written in participle instead of past? Okay? You understand the question? Like I said, whether or not we can answer these questions will be a different question, it will be a different subject. But we should understand that there are those questions. So what other questions do we have?
Well, the go instead of come.
Okay? What else? By the way, you could also say, he came to her and he went after her. Right? What do you have to say that? Why would it say that way for? If I'm rewriting the story, I could do a lot of rewrites here. Anything else? Why is so it says the Metzudas David says when it states V'hinei Barak rodef et Cisera, he was chasing after Cisera. So it says Lefi machshevet dato, according to the thoughts of his mind, levaksho ka'ashir husham, to investigate or to search out where he was. That's why he's chasing after him. He doesn't know he's dead yet. Okay. And then oh, I missed something? Okay. Now the Malbim says, all the way up in 20, when he says, if there's a man here, say no. So here's your question, Jim. You asked this and I gave you the three options. Well, the Malbim doesn't lie. He says, your question was absolutely excellent. Jim doesn't hear me when I say it. He's applauding your question. He's saying that etiquette would not allow a man to marry into, would not allow him to enter into the tent of a woman when there's no man there. Uvavadai yishal hayesh ish b'nei habayit, and that's certainly why he will ask, is there a man from the people of the house is there a man of the house home? If the man is the man of the house home. So and you should say no. So then that stranger won't enter there. So it's, look at the Malbim did with that, okay? Simple thing, is there a man here? Lie, say no. And he's saying, no, that's not what I'm telling you to ask.
The man.
He says, right, no, he says, Hayesh po ish. is for somebody home. Is the man of the house home? That's all. Is because they're not, I can't come in and sort out your place because you're a woman. If there was an etiquette, again, it's so strange that there would be an etiquette like that in a world where they're raping, pillaging, and doing what they want in Avodah Zarah. But the Malbim is holding that there is always was that etiquette that you don't enter into somebody's house if the husband isn't there. It's just not proper. So that would be, he doesn't ask you a question specifically, but in a way he is. So now that puts the question, so how could Cisera enter? And that would be because she said to him, come in. So he figures, okay, I have protection, the husband will be home, she must know what she's doing, blah, 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 blah. I mean, you could answer that too. Then it says, Titka Rosh Limor, he lakha el makeva, she took the hammer, biyad echad in one hand, biyad sheni, and the tent in another hand. Aval ki lo haya lakoach lahalom makevet aliyate, but because there was not enough power to put the hammer on the tent, haya ma'azir Hashem, so Hashem had to help. Shayatet senach ba'aretz ma'atzmo, and so the peg pierced into the ground by itself, ayedei kovado, because of its heaviness. Also, it wasn't her strength that's doing it. That's what the Malbim is telling us. It wasn't her strength. She wasn't strong enough. So now it splits into passages through ayedei shahya nirdam al yedei echalav sheshata v'yai v'yagei al yedei zeh meitekef. And since he was tired, and because of the milk, and that he drank, and he was tired from running and all this, so that's why he died immediately. Okay. So the Malbim gives that sort of reason, that it wasn't necessarily her banging it. She's not a total murderer here. She just helped the process along, but it wasn't, it was also Hashem, it was the help of Hashem that this plan worked. Okay. I never knew what a tent pegs are so heavy. Tent pegs are so heavy. Tent pegs.
It could be.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe if you're putting up a big tent.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just imagine.
You have the tent out here.
Oh, you're right. Those big they are big. They are very big.
Yeah.
They have to hold. You're right.
Because of the wind.
Yeah, thank you.
And long.
Yeah. So if you have that hammer, bang.
Or like a circus tent.
Yeah. Okay. See, I'm thinking of the pup tents we used to put up. I think it's the name pup tent. Not part of the class, but does anybody know how they got pup tent out of that?
I think it's like a little dog house. It's like.
Oh, that's what they call a pup tent? Okay.
Do we know anything else about Yael other than this story? Is this?
That's all enough to know. You want to know something else?
I mean,
Beware of women bringing milk to you
Yeah.
and covering you with a blanket and saying, don't worry about it.
Does she appear anywhere else?
No, I don't believe so. In this story, no. No. So I think that's her one shot into fame. Chever doesn't really make an appearance here. Chever, but we have to remember nowadays, all of these people are intertwined. They're cousins, brother, sister, whatever. And each one of them has some play. The amazing thing about Yael, and that goes back, by the way, to Devorah telling Barak that you, the man, won't get credit for this. If I go, it's going to be a woman, because I led them into the armed forces, and Yael is one who takes him out. So what are you? You're just a glorified, page at this point. So why do you want me to go with you? And so you're seeing that Yael was a character in the story before she was a character in the story, if you will. You're seeing a prophecy here that's borne out, because Yael didn't know she was going to do it. How did she know that Cisera was going to come to her tent? I mean, think about all of the machinations that you have to go through in order to have to see if you could pass this test, to see if you could help out. Chever should have been the one. Put a sword through the guy. Where was Chever all this time? He decides to break off from his family so that he doesn't have to pay attention to this peace treaty. And then where did he go? He went off to the sheep. Well, what happened to him? He's not there. Only Yael is there. And would If Chever was there, would Cisera have trusted him? He already broke off. Another question. You know, and Chever is known because he's from Yitro, so he's known to like the Jews. They're all known to like the Jews. So why trust him again? There's a lot, of an undercurrent here of who I can trust, who I can't trust, and the power of a woman saying, "Don't worry, and I'm going to cover you up, and then I'm going to kill you." But she doesn't tell him that, obviously. But he's totally off guard, and here's a guy who was armed forces his whole life, and he gets so off guard because he's tired, and obviously he didn't feel that he should be the captain goes down with the ship. He didn't hold by that theory either. He sees it going down, he runs to fight another day. So you have a lot. So I don't, as far as Yael, maybe midrashically she has other stories, but certainly not here. And this story is repeated in the times of the Maccabees with Yehudis. I think it's called the Book of Yehudis, in Book of Judith, you would call it, in what's it called? The Apocrypha. I'm pretty sure she has the same sort of storyline with killing the general.
Judith. It's called Judith.
Okay, Judith. I thought book of, okay. But the same sort of storyline. So Yael, Judith, we have a couple of women who went out there and got the job done.
You gotta watch out for these ancient Israelite women.
Well, she wasn't even ancient Israelite. She was, unless you want to say that all the Kenites converted, she was just a friend of. But, okay, let's go on. So v'yachna Elokim b'yomahu. So Hashem humbled on that day, and again, I'm just going simple text here. Hashem humbled on that day at Yavin Melech Canaan, Yavin the king of Canaan. Lifnei b'nei Yisrael, before b'nei Yisrael. Simple words. Okay? Any questions? Come on. Wake up. Vayachna Elokim b'yomahu. On that day, Hashem humbled them, Yavin, before Ben Israel. No.
Because with the connection, I guess, with what is the connection with Yavin and Cisera?
Cisera is
general?
the general of Yavin.
Okay.
That we learned. Okay? What's Bayomahu on that day? Only on that day? Was it other days or just that day? So, the Malbim says, Vayichna Tekef. Bayomahu, he humbled them immediately on that day. Rak sha'achar kach shavli lechem shenet. Only afterwards, to go back to fight him a second time. Aval yad Yisrael kashata alav. But then the hand of Israel was strong against him. Ad she'echritu oto, until they destroyed him. Ba'ofen shenachu kol yemei devora. In that manner, all the days of Devorah they rested. Ki amdu b'sitkatam kol yemei chayeha. Because they stood in their righteousness all the days of her life, like it says above, that he saved them from the hand of their enemies, all the days of the Shofet. So we're seeing that immediately on that day, when everything was done, Yavin was defeated, not to come back, and that the people, even when they did want to come back, even when he did come back, so they were soundly defeated. Why? Only because Bnei Yisrael did not return to the evil ways of doing whatever they want to do. And the reason they didn't return was because Devorah was alive, continually teaching and convincing them, as it were, that this is a good thing to do. Okay, so that is something that if Bnei Yisrael ever figure out, and to this day, that all we need to do is follow the Torah, not reinvent the Torah, not do whatever we want to do with the Torah, but just follow it and accept Hashem as our Lord and King, then we too will be swiftly taken out of all of Galut and brought to Eretz Yisrael, never to be kicked out again. That's as simple as it gets.
That's the synonymous with the hand growing stronger and stronger is strengthening Emunah and Torah, and then that will be what kept them strong. Yeah.
Where's the hand?
In verse 24, Yad.
Oh, we didn't get there yet. Okay. Let's finish the verse and then you'll tell me.
Oh, you read it? No?
No, I didn't get that yet. No,
In the
I was reading the commentary.
Okay.
So it says, "Vatelech ya bnei Israel haloch v'kasha." So then the hand of Israel went against, kept going and was strong. Al Yavin Melchanan, over Yavin Melchanan, the king of Canaan, Ada sheyichitu, until they destroyed them at Yavin Melchanan. Okay, that's now we're there. Okay, you're right. But the thing is, as long as they maintained their connection to Hashem via the commandments, via their following their leaders, doing what they should be doing, that would be it. Now, you have to remember one other thing, that Israel was not a trained fighting army. All these other armies are trained fighting armies. They all have armies. Israel is not. Israel are farmers. They're not. There is no trained army here. They are the Minutemen, if anything. Like the Revolutionary Minutemen, where they were farmers and they had one hand a plowshare and one hand a sword. That's all it was. When they had to go to war, they went to war. But it wasn't that they were going out for territory or all these other things. That wasn't how they were trained. So when you don't have a trained army to go out there, you better do something else that's going to reinforce you. Now you could have a type of reserves where everybody gets together for 2 weeks a year or whatever the case is going to be, and say, okay, we're going to train and so on and so forth. But there's no record that I know of, historically or certainly biblically, that says they did that. So it seems that only when they had to did they get together and form this alliance and go out to fight. But really, if they would have just stuck with the Torah, that's what we keep learning, then they would have, and relied upon Hashem. That's two things, by the way. You learn Torah and you rely upon Hashem. Two separate things. So if you do that, and observe, if you do that, then you won't have to worry about it anymore. And then the enemy will be taken care of, because the only reason the enemies come up is to be thorns in our eyes. Think about that.
They're a tool in Hashem's hand to test the people.
Test or punish, whatever the case is going to be. And it's up to us to realize that they're just a distraction. Can you imagine? The best way to fight to defeat a bully is to ignore him. How many people can ignore a bully? You're either intimidated by the bully, or you feel you have to stand up to the bully. But what happens when you turn your back on the bully and walk away? That hurts that bully much more than anything else. So can you imagine if what happened was the bully, whatever bully Hashem wants to throw up to us, would come to us and want to start to bother us. And then we realize, wait a second, this is just Hashem telling us we did something wrong. So you know what? Fine. We'll have to do tshuva, no question. We'll probably have to take some hits, but we're not paying attention to you. You're just a distraction to the cause. You make us feel we have to do A, B, and C. I'm not interested. I'm going to try a different approach. I'm just going to start doing my mitzvot, and I'm going to really do tshuva, and not to say, okay, Hashem, I've done my tshuva, now heal this up, but I'm doing my tshuva, and whatever is part of that, I accept willingly. Let's go on. So, like I said, some people will certainly take the hits, no question about that. But in the end product will be much better, as long as we can maintain that sort of repentance and that sort of understanding that we have to follow Torah. Okay. Ooh, is that late already? Indeed, it is. Okay, I'll have to stop here. So it's starting chapter